You want what?
I'm just going to introduce you, talk a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to take it into the sauna.
Okay.
That way we can actually get like a real introduction, man, because I'm on a time limit when I get in there. The sauna, man, it blows my camera out.
Oh, yeah.
It's too hot. Yeah. Unfortunately. All right. Welcome to another episode of The Sauna Sessions. We get people in here, man. We talk a little bit of life, talk a little bit about discipline, man, what brought them into the gym, and what it is exactly they are doing, what's pushing them, what's their North Star. Just a little bit about everybody. I like to bring men's vulnerability to the forefront, man, so we have somewhere we can go, we can talk to, so we understand, man, that this mission that we are at in life, we are all on, and you don't have to be alone in sharing it. Anyways, today I have an amazing guest, Evie. Man, if you will, please introduce yourself, brother.
My name is Ev. I'm from Mansfield, Texas, 28 years young. Used to play sports and everything, but now I'm just really into the gym and really about being disciplined and growing myself and seeing how far I can push myself mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Nice.
And that's all I'm here for.
Man, I love it, man.
Absolutely.
I love it. Man, and right now I think you're on what are you doing? Are you doing a show in a couple months?
Yep, I'm doing a show here in August.
Okay, where at?
It'll be in Dallas.
Nice, man.
Absolutely.
He is on the diet. If you don't know much about a diet, whenever you're looking at a show like that, man, tell them a little bit about that diet.
It's very, very strict. So typically, if you want to get into the top 15% of physiques, you probably want to be eating about 80% diet food, 20% whatever you want to eat. Once you get to show prep, you probably want to be somewhere closer to 95 and above as far as diet food goes. Okay. And that's pretty much around the clock. And then there's just a lot of cardio that goes along with it, but
for sure,
definitely worth it.
Nice, man. Yeah. I mean, the results are speaking for themselves, man. I tell you, every time I come in here, I swear, man, my boy's looking a little bit more toned out, man. He looking like he's getting ready for this show.
Absolutely.
You know, personally, man, I just did a 3-day fast. Water only fast, man, and I'll tell you, man, it is rough.
Oh yes, I know.
To that water, so sticking only to a diet, man. Especially, it was amazing to me to hear how many commercials were about like food going on all the time.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is rough, bro. Like, I wanted some Arby's, some
cravings go through the roof. I've been through it where I've had towards the tail end of my show, of my prep for my last show. I had to go 3 days without food myself, little to no water. Yeah. So yeah, I was falling asleep at red lights and stoplights and everything. So I know how that goes. That's right. And then you start to see how overfed we are as Americans here.
Absolutely.
And it's just like you realize that fasting is like your body's best medicine.
Yeah.
So through that, 100%. I found just spiritual benefits, just health benefits. So fasting is definitely tough, but it's worth it. Man, discipline is everything in that.
I love that. And I love that you brought up, as America, we are overfed. And I think that is a problem that we have that's not really brought out very much, especially if it's not a worldwide problem, man. It is very much in America, a first world problem, that we are overfed as a nation, man. I mean, every time you go to the fast food line, what do they say, man?
Would you like that?
Yeah, you want a large.
You want the combo.
Yeah, you want the combo. Yeah. You want an extra large drink, man.
You want to add cookies for $1. It's too convenient to be overfed in America, man.
Yeah, and so it's wild, man. And so I think that's a huge part of that discipline that, needs to be brought out and talked about whenever we're, talking about, man, one of the biggest issues, especially in the health system, man. If you listen to some of these health professionals, obesity, overeating, man, are 90% of the issues that we have. Yeah. Now, I'll be honest, I'm pulling that stat out of my butt.
True.
But there is a lot of overeating that we have that causes a lot of the issues that we have.
And I feel like that trickles over into other areas of our life as well. Just so, like, we're so tempted by food, and it's just like all our other temptations, we're like, okay, well, we fail at being tempted by food, we're going to be failed at being tempted by everything else. So 100%. When you can control the one thing that's available to you 24/7, you're able to control so much more of your life.
Man, that's 100%, man. It's interesting, man. And I think you're right, man. You're absolutely right, because one of the things that's been on my mind a lot is, people talk about the little white lie, and it's, oh man, it's just a little white lie. It's okay. But you realize the little white lie is a push into that boundary of, oh, okay, it's a little white lie here, or maybe it's a medium-sized lie over here, or maybe it's a large lie over here. So it started off with that little bit, you know, and then it steamrolls to that bigger.
Yeah.
The opposite can also be said, man. It's a little bit of discipline here, a little bit of discipline here, a little bit more, a little bit more, and it steamrolls.
It definitely builds momentum, because that's how it started off for me. I never just was like, I came out the gate, let me eat fully 100% good. I was like, let me get myself in the gym. Okay, I'm in the gym consistently. Now let me make this not a waste of my time. Let me actually put this to work and actually eat well, because I don't want to just be coming to the gym to be offsetting what I'm eating, or still not even offsetting it at the end of the day. Right. You're still in a caloric surplus. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, man. Before we're about to get into sauna, but I do think that's an important point, at least to add on right here, is that when you come into the gym, you do not need to worry about being King Kong in here day one, man.
No.
It is a process. It is a process every single time. You want to talk to the guys that have been here 2 to 20 years, it's because they dealt with a process of being in here.
Yes.
That being said, let's take this into the sauna.
Absolutely.
All right, welcome back. We are now in the sauna, so now it's time to get a little hot. Well, so we ended on that, you know, you do not always want to push 100% when you get into the gym, man. It is a methodical method. You know, and one of the biggest things I tell people, man, is, look, if you're going to get into the gym, do 30 minutes, 3 days a week for a month, right?
Yep.
Don't go all out. Don't hurt yourself, man, because a lot of people get in here and they're like, I'm King Kong, and they push it. Yeah. And then that first week, they never come back.
They burn out. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what was your method, man? How did you start getting in the gym, man? What is it that brought you into the gym, and then what's it been that has kept you going?
I would say, so like I told you, I've always played sports my whole life. So I've always been, since 5 years old, very active in playing football. You know, we stay in the gym. Yeah. And then after I finished with collegiate football, I took 3 years off from working out, we're just drifting, drifting. Like, you go off of a schedule where you're so used to having a set schedule that you don't kind of try to figure out who you are and what your identity is after being a football player for so long. 100%. Right. So then it was just like, man, I have a son now. I want to expand my business. I want to get back home. And it was just like, I need something that was, that I could have to myself that would make me better. Yeah. You 100%. Know? And it's something that you have to pay for a gym membership, but you don't always have to. But like, getting a better physique doesn't cost money at the same time too. So I was like, this is something I can be so proud of. And it takes a lot of effort and work and just discipline to do. That was just my mindset behind it. And I know, like, if you've ever seen, like, coming out of the gate with intensity, people make these huge leaps, right? But they never really get far. But people that are disciplined, they make little leaps every single day. Yeah. And that stuck with me. It just, I make a little bit of progress every single day. And leave something left in the tank where I'm hungry and want to come back to the gym the next day. Right. So
I love that, man. I think that's great when you talk about, like, the little steps. Because I really don't think people understand that those little steps really snowball over time. And it's such a short amount of time. It doesn't seem like it. Because I think a lot of the times we think in terms of weeks, right? And maybe that's because the way the news cycle is, man. Every day there's a new story, right? So everything is just like, well, the next day. But if you stay with those little bitty grinds for in a year.
Months. I would say at least 6 months. I always give people, like, give it 6 months. And see where you are. After like, don't make any changes yet. Just see where you are 6 months into it. Yeah. And then just build on from there. But you just keep your head down for 6 months and look and be like, I'm a totally new person. Like, you realize that your goals in the gym are totally different. Like, it stops becoming, I want to go get a better body. It's like, I want to go become better for my family. I want to become a better businessman. It's just like, I want to be able to be here as long as I can to be able to play with my kids. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. And I think that's huge. I think that's huge, man. Because in order to have that longevity, man, and if you look, I mean, even the statistics, man, if you're in the gym and you're working out whenever you get older, you're less likely to stay ill. You're less likely whenever you get into the hospital, man, you get hurt. You're less likely to stay hurt. Yep. You know?
For sure.
One thing I do want to bring up that you were talking about, you said, I had a set schedule and then I didn't, and I felt lost. Are you a business owner?
Yes. Okay. I would say I'm a business owner for sure.
Okay. I was too, and I ran that thing into the ground. And it's probably because I didn't have a set schedule, man, because I didn't understand that part of my life at the time. I wasn't the person who I am today. But I want to, can you dive in a little bit into that about how you went from a set schedule to nothing. Then I'm guessing now you have a set schedule.
Absolutely. So, like coming from football, there's coaches and your mentors for classes. They're all setting your schedule for you.
Yeah.
So literally, you just wake up. You just know you have to show up here and you show up there. And collegiate football, you're busy around the clock. So you're so used to like being in this cast system where okay, this is how my Mondays look, this is how my Tuesdays look,
right?
And then you go from that to pretty much you're creating your own schedule. You know what I mean? Just there's no football, there's no weights in the morning, there's nothing really getting you up in the morning, so you can lay there all day.
Yeah,
and then just realizing like, man, I'm like this is just not who I am. This is not what I want to do. Like I wake up, I don't have any goals for the day. At that time when I don't have a set schedule, I don't have any goals for the day, and that created a lot of anxiety. Maybe even a little bit of depression, just because I just wake up and just be kind of just let the wind blow me either direction. But now just rebuilding my schedule and setting a set schedule where I'm up at 3:45 every morning, right?
Right.
And first thing I do, I always start by doing my daily devotion and getting into my Bible and just starting to recreate that schedule to where now there's no free time that I have to where I can just really just free flow and do whatever.
Right.
But it keeps me so busy and it keeps me in demand to where it helps me reach my goals. Every day I wake up, I know exactly what I have to accomplish by 7. I know what I got to get done by noon. I know what I have to get done by 5.
Nice.
And that just keeps me moving forward. There's no way to not progress when you set your schedule up to where, okay, it's putting pressure on me and I have to show up.
Right.
I have to.
Right.
Without that, there's like family on me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, man, that is a heck of a driver. What do you say? The family don't eat if I don't make these goals.
Yes.
And I think that's really important, man, that you set the goals and like, look, I need to be done with this by this time. I need to be done with by this time. Man, and again, was that something that you jumped right into, or is that something what you're talking about little by little? You set the schedule up.
It all just started slowly coming together little by little.
Okay.
Like it never just was, okay, let me wake up at 3:45. I'm gonna get this done.
Right.
All in one day. No, I wouldn't even be able to survive. But it just like little pieces kept getting added to the puzzle. And I just prayed to become a better man that could handle more on my plate. And that's definitely something the Lord has helped me with, is just being able to bring on more. And bringing on more responsibility, you got to be more effective, more efficient, and just very detailed. Very detailed.
I love it, man. I pray to become a better man that could handle the workload, right?
Absolutely.
I love that. I think that's a beautiful prayer. And that comes with the challenges that are going to put you in that position to strengthen you to be that person.
Yep. It's a lot of tests, and it's just a lot of, you got to keep your resolve very, very strong.
Yeah.
And it's just seeing things all the way through to completion. And it's the last 2 or 3 years have been like, easily the last 2 years have been like the most beautiful of my life. Man. Very, very challenging, but the reward at the end of the test have been so good because I've chosen to stick through the test because I know that's where I grow the most.
Yeah.
That's where I become the best person. And that's honestly why I do bodybuilding competitions. Because when you do bodybuilding competition, you become one of the top 0.1% in physiques. If you can do that in the bodybuilding world, you can take that same effort and same blueprint and structure and apply it to any other area of your life.
I love it. I love that, man. Man, let's get a little bit into your life, man. It seems like that, you use the Lord as your North Star. What was it whenever you were growing up, man? Who spoke into you when you were young, man? Were you reckless as a kid? Man, did you have people that pushed you, man? Kind of bring us into who you were as a kid and what brought you forward.
As a kid, I was just, I don't know how to put it, but I was a boy. I was a boy just exploring the world, but I always kept my eyes on my great-grandfather and my uncle.
Nice.
And always watching them in the church and how they led the church and watching how my family looks up to them. I always knew that's the position I wanted to be in once I got older, just to be that guy that my family can rely on, depend on, and look to, and in regards of leadership or any type of decision making, providing, just really molding my life, molding my style after those two guys.
I love that,
really
man.
pushed me forward.
I love that. I think that's such a huge thing, man. And I think that's something that's lacking in a lot of communities, man, is a strong male role model.
Absolutely.
Man, and we don't have that strong male role model, man. You were you're likely to engage in reckless behavior.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So
You know?
I grew up without my father, so that was
Yeah.
something I would really I've always looked for.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily I had that kind of built in, but still there was a lot of difficulties transitioning to a more mature mindset and understanding that that's not like my fault as to why that happened. You know what I mean?
Man.
So
All right, man. Let's continue on where we left off, which was you were saying it took you a long time to realize that it was not your fault that your dad was not around, man.
absolutely.
I think that's huge, man. And like I was telling you, man, after the little commercial break we had, you know, I didn't grow up. My dad really wasn't in my life, man. He was in and out. You know, he had his own issues that he was working on. And it took me a long time to realize
Yeah.
he was doing the best he could.
Yep.
You know,
we all got to realize that this is all of our first times around here on planet Earth.
man,
Yeah,
that's
like
gold.
we do have to cut our parents some slack. You know, like they're doing the best. They did the best that they could.
Right.
Absolutely. And
Right.
it was something that definitely, now that I've become a parent, it's pushed me forward because I
Yeah.
know what I lack when I was growing up, and it's like I try to provide that for myself. I try to anybody that's in my life, I try to be a better man. Like if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I do everything in my power to make sure that comes to fruition. I make sure that gets taken care of. But yeah, it's definitely, I use it as a motivator now instead of just, woe is me, dang, my daddy didn't love me. Like, that's his loss. I became a very great person. He missed out on a great child, and he won't have that opportunity again.
Man, that's real. Man, that's real. And I think that definitely comes from a lot of being introspective, being around other men who have that opportunity to lead you and do a little bit. And so, like, and I think that's important, man, because like how I was saying earlier, that, you know, you as a young man without a man in your life will find guidance from somewhere.
Yes.
Now, whether that's in music, whether that's in television, whether that's in older kids. I mean, you don't realize that a lot of these people out here who say they know what's going on, they have it all together, man. You realize they don't.
Absolutely not. And you can't go off of social media
Man,
for what it looks like.
Not at all.
So yeah, you're 100% on with that.
Yeah. So did you see that a lot, man, when you were growing up? You know, it seems like you actually had some men in your life that really gave you the guidance that you needed, man. But did you see that in your life where other people maybe didn't have that male example in their life, and what happened with them?
Absolutely. I will say I had that guidance, but I still had that, how do I put it? Just the daredevil. I just want to explore. Like I had to go. You could tell me that the stove was hot, but I had to go touch it myself to go figure out. Okay, that really is hot. So it was. I take responsibility for some of the things that I brought upon in my life because I just didn't take heed to the advice and to the leadership that I was presented with in my life.
Yeah.
And didn't look at it that way. But once I grew up and really realized how blessed I was with the people that were around me and how much they were willing to invest into me, I really started taking it seriously.
Good,
so,
man, I love
for
that.
sure. And I did see, like, I do notice, especially now, those who are still looking for something like a father figure, they're still lost.
Yeah.
And it's incredible to see, like, they're still, you know, a man without purpose will get caught up in pleasure. You know,
oh my God.
So that's what they'll get distracted by pleasure. So I see it. They're still out here partying, chasing women, and it's just the more I really reeled that in on myself and like got control of that, it's just everything's been a whole lot better.
100%.
So
a man without purpose will seek pleasure.
Absolutely,
Man, that's huge because you see it, and we live in a culture where that is idealized. It's about happiness, it's about having fun, it's about living your best life. And being in your purpose, having a mission and a vision for your life, it's not about being happy all the time, man.
Yeah, you're not going to be happy on this journey, but you're going to be fulfilled. There's
that's it.
There's nothing. I haven't been more fulfilled in my life. Like there's a lot of challenges, and of course, there's like things I'm like, okay, I want more, but it's like at the same time, you best believe I have more than I've ever had in life, and just because I'm focused on fulfilling my purpose, and I pray, Lord, just give me the resources and tools necessary to carry out your will and the purpose that you have for me on this earth.
Absolutely.
And everything just seems to be falling in my lap at the right time. The right people, the right resources, the right friends, all of that good stuff, the right materials, just they land in your lap when you pray for things like that instead of always just chasing what you deem is worthy or idolized here on earth.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, man. That's incredible. Man, I love that. You're not always happy, but you're always fulfilled.
yes.
That's huge. And I think that that's underestimated in society, man, when we're trying to change so much on such a short time frame. You know, personally, one of my big things, man, is that men are supposed to be masculine. We're supposed to embody that control, that drive, that
Yes.
mission and purpose. And when you don't, you get resentful.
You get
You
depressed.
angry,
Yes.
depressed.
Like you're on shaky ground there.
Yeah,
To be
yeah.
honest with you. But yeah, like pressure is a privilege. As a man,
Pressure is a privilege.
yes, pressure is
so
a
many
privilege.
gems.
Like-
I love it.
I mean, like it's just like, yeah, if you're feeling like life is hard, life is
Yeah.
tough, it means that hey, you know you're in a position where you should be doing better, or you're on your way to doing better,
Yes.
and it takes a lot of work. If
Yes.
you're in a position where you just laid back comfortable, that means you're not growing, you're not
Not at
really
all.
pursuing to be better and pushing yourself to be the best person possible, not just for yourself,
Right.
but for those around you as well.
Absolutely.
So when you
Absolutely.
make life about the other people around you, it's easy. It's easy to find a way. When it means a lot, you find a way. When it
Absolutely.
don't mean that much, you find an excuse.
Yeah, man, that's true.
So that's honestly what keeps me going.
I love that, man, and I love that you say that, man. It's, personally, man, for me, failure is exhilarating because I'm finding out what doesn't work in real
Yes.
time,
Yes.
and it gives you a chance to recalculate your next play
Yep.
in your position. You're like, how am I going to do this again? And man, look, I don't know how far down you've been, man, but you will always. No matter how far down you get, you can always come back up.
Yes, yes, and that's
Pushing
and that's the
and
beautiful
outcome
part of
zone.
it. That's the beautiful part of it. When you set out big, challenging goals,
Yeah.
sometimes you are going to fail. And the beauty in it is being able to pick yourself up and get yourself back focused and get back on track.
Right.
And that's where when you get to the end of the journey, like, yeah, hey, it didn't go how I planned it in my mind, but it went how it needed to go, and I learned the lessons and extracted those lessons and use them now to this day
Right.
to carry forward on the next mission. So there's never really a failure unless
Right.
you quit. And that's when you,
Absolutely.
yes. So
Man, I love that. I love that. It's never. What do you say? It's never.
it's never a failure unless you quit.
Absolutely, man. And I think that's huge, man, because a lot of the times we do have failures, and we're like, well, I guess this is it, man. I guess this is who I am now. And
Yeah.
it's not.
And we get stuck in that rut, and we
Yeah.
start playing this pity part in our
Yeah.
heads, and be like, man. And like you're like, oh man, I said I was going to be great, but now everybody's looking at me like, you haven't done it yet, you haven't done it yet, and you just kind of fall back. But it's just
Right.
like you're on your own timeline. Like you never know like what God has planned for you, but you got to stay on that path and see
Absolutely.
it through.
I want to ask you, man. So you say you end up hearing the people, and they say you're not there yet. You're not there yet. How do you ignore those people? Because I feel like there's a lot of people who get stuck in their failures, and those are the ones going, well, you're not there yet, man. What
Yep.
happened? You said you were going to be this guy. How do you ignore those people, and where do you put your focus on?
I think we get caught up in comparing ourselves. You know,
Yeah.
we compare ourselves to other people, and I always say comparison is a thief of joy.
I'm just saying,
And we're all in our own race and our own journey. Like what my 100% looks like may look like somebody else's 50%.
Yeah.
And I can't compare that to him. Like, hey,
No,
they
not at
just
all.
have different talents, different gifts, and they use them in a different way.
100%.
And that's how I really just be like, okay, I'm a unique person. I have unique goals, and this is like I'm given unique gifts to attack those goals. And I just kind of check with myself. Okay, am I further along in my journey, or like further along as a person than I was 3 months ago?
Right.
And that's when I really realized that I was starting to become on the right path. Because I would, like, even now, like 3 months from now, I look back at the guy that's on this camera now and be like, that guy didn't know nothing. Right. That's when you know that you're really growing as a man. Because like, every time I look back 3 months, I'm like, I thought I was the smartest ever then, but that guy still didn't know nothing. I hope and pray that every day, like every year of my life, I'm able to look back on the previous one and be like, in the moment I felt the best ever, but like looking back on it, I still wasn't at my best.
Right.
So I'm always pushing, always
Love
evolving. So that's what I use as my
Good,
who I
man.
compare myself to.
So I want to make a kind of comparison, man. So when you were looking for that father figure out in the real world, and you were trying to find that guy, when that shift happened and you realized personally that comes from the inside,
Mm-hmm.
that's who you need to love first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the person that needs to come first.
Yep.
It seems like whenever you're making these goals
Mm-hmm.
and you're making these, you're not listening to the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
you're listening to yourself.
Yep.
A lot of that resolve comes from, I realized it wasn't my fault.
Mm-hmm.
So now who do I want to be?
Yep.
And when you made that leap,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you started making those leaps and bounds in your life.
Because you stop looking for the outward opinions and like approval of others. Once you stop seeking the approval of others,
Yeah.
that's where you start really like making the leaps and bounds. I feel like because like when you start just seeking the approval and doing what other people want you to do,
Yeah.
you start overstretching yourself and you really start getting diluted down as who you are as a person.
100%.
Everybody else has an influence on you.
Yeah.
But when I only care about the guy in the mirror, like my opinion and those like my family members and God's opinion of me, that's when I'm just like, okay, I'm here. I'm locked in and it's just time to go. And that's where that comes from and just self-reflecting and being comfortable with myself and truly loving myself. Like once I started loving myself, that then allows you to love other people too. And really see the love that other people have for you. So
that's such a big thing because whenever you have nothing to fill your cup up with and you can't fill your cup up with and you're trying to overstretch yourself and you're trying to give to everybody, you have no boundaries, you get resentful of the world. And you see that you see that resentfulness that they have towards other people. But when you learn that it comes from the inside, when you can grow that inner faith, that inner understanding, that inner love, you don't have to worry about giving out love freely because you replenish it yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a huge thing.
Yeah, and that's just like one of the highest forms of love is just like why I come to the gym. I'm like, I take care of myself. I love being able to take care of myself. And like showing that type of love and pouring it to my cup first thing in the morning. Yeah. The rest of the day I'm able to pour into anybody else's cup.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And people notice that because people are not like that. People notice that when you do this, they notice. They're like, man, you're always happy. You're always smiling, man. What's this? I mean, why do you always have such a great attitude?
Because it's just like you've been through so much. After a while, it's just like even though there's a lot going on right now, I know that I'm gonna make it through. I'm gonna do everything else. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I'm here. Everybody else has their troubles too, and we're supposed to be the light upon the world. So it's just like anytime people come in contact with us, they're supposed to be able to see that light. So you can't always just walk around with your problems on your face. You know what I'm saying? Like. It can be the simplest thing as smiling at somebody and telling them like and genuinely meaning, hey, you have a great day and looking them in the eyes. Yeah. You never know what they're going through, but that might make their day. They probably in the car crying just because this person doesn't even know who I am, don't know what I'm going through, but they seem to care about me so much.
Yeah. Yeah. It is amazing how true that is. How when you are genuinely honest with somebody and authentic, man, you come across as incredibly authentic and you can really tell it whenever we're talking, man, everything flows, man, the way you come off, man. You can definitely tell that you did a lot of work on the inside, man, to become this person.
Definitely.
So
it's been a long time coming. I'll be honest. It's been a very, very long time coming. But it's finally come to a time where like it's not until it didn't come to like I was 26. I'm 28 now. Like when I was 26, I finally looked in the mirror. Like I love what I see in the mirror. I love who I'm becoming. Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
And I know that it might be longer for some people, it's shorter, but it's just like once I finally got to that point, it's just like it's go time, you know.
It is,
and it was worth the wait, and it was definitely things started timing out perfectly how it was supposed to go, you know.
Absolutely.
And just that anticipation phase, it's always fun, but like once you start getting into that groove, it's like okay, it's go time. It's go time.
Yeah. 100%, man. It took me until 34, 35. I'm 36 now. To really be able to look in the mirror and say that, man. And it gets easier and easier every day.
That's what's up.
Because you end up putting in that stuff. So if you're older, man, if you're younger, don't worry. This is not a competition. One of the biggest things is not a competition.
It is not.
Look at yourself. You are always you versus you every single time. Don't worry about the timeline that you're on because you can always transform who you are today to 6 months to a year from now.
Absolutely.
So what would you say, let's get a couple more questions. What would you say is your North Star? What's your North Star? What's your guiding light? What's your principles? What do you live by?
Definitely the Lord and Savior. As we spoke before. and family. Those two things are my North Star. Definitely keep me focused, keep me moving forward. Like, if this was just for me, I wouldn't be able to do what I do on a day-to-day basis, just to be honest with you.
Okay.
It would be definitely exhausting, but keeping that strong North Star is easy. It's easy to wake up and just go and get the things done that I need to get done, working from literally 4 a.m. till 9 p.m. every day. You know, it's just the norm for me because my purpose and my why is big enough to keep me moving forward.
Man, I love that. My purpose and my why is big enough to keep me moving forward, man. I love it. So you say you're a business owner, man. If people need to follow you on Instagram, if people are looking, what kind of business do you have?
So I do personal training.
Nice.
I do some personal training, and then I do online business, so online e-commerce business as well.
Nice.
So yes.
Okay. If people need to follow you, man, tell them where to follow you at.
That will be Ev_2 shredded. So EV_2 shredded.
Awesome, man. Man, well, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, man. I think this thing has been absolutely full of nothing but gems, honest conversation, man. I love it, man. It's more beautiful than I could have ever expected, man.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Absolutely. It's been real, brother.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes, sir.
And always remember, tune in every Saturday for a new episode, man. You know, if you're looking for some purpose, if you're looking for life, if you're a little lost, man, hopefully these episodes help you. I love you guys. Have a fantastic day. We're out.
Absolutely.